to organize themselves and conduct necessary preparatory activities, the Electoral Commission released a roadmap and is actively preparing for the elections, including displaying the National Voters Register. In compliance with their responsibility, political parties also started familiarizing themselves with the details of the electoral process and are engaging in the preparation outlined by the Electoral Commission. And so tonight we shall be looking into that issue, how political parties are organizing for the elections. I'll be introducing my panel shortly. Welcome to the show, and let me introduce my panel this evening. I have the Member of Parliament for Kassanda County North and a member of the National Unity Platform, Mr. Patrick Nsamba. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, Kamala. Thank you for having me.
I have the MP Soroti City West and a member of the Forum for Democratic Change, the Honorable Jonathan Ebwalu. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
I have a Communications Director at the NRM Secretariat, the Honorable Emmanuel Dombo. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, and good evening, listeners and viewers.
I have also the spokesperson of the Democratic Party, Mr. Okoler Opio Lo Amanu. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
I am grateful to be on the show, and I want to wish our viewers and listeners a nice talk show. Thank you.
Let me begin with you. How is the Democratic Party organizing for the 2026 general election, considering that I saw the other day the President General picking the nomination forms? It appears the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs in the NRM party is about to take on his boss.
Well, it's not the Minister of Justice and Constitution in the NRM party. You would say in the NRM government, because it's the NRM government that's presiding over the country. I just wanted to make that clarification.
I don't know whether this is even clear enough. Anyway.
Secondly, in EDP, we normally have these internal elections when we are turning towards the general elections. We are not a party that is anchored on peaking and dictatorial tendencies. So we do allow internal democratic processes to take place. We started by registering the registration of members, and it's still ongoing because it's a continuous process. But according to our work plan, right now, we are at the parish level. We finished constructing the structure at the village level. We are now at the parish level, and we opened the process that leads to nomination of candidates that intend to contest at the National Executive Committee of the party. Candidates started picking forms on 26th of last month, and we are closing on 6th of this month. Now, in EDP, the President General automatically becomes the flag bearer for presidency of the country. Now that means that by 30th, after 30th, we shall have known who is going to carry the flag of DP for the position of presidency in the country. After that, then we shall get to identifying candidates at lower positions. For instance, councillor level, MP level, local government, we shall do that. Of course, our constitution gives power to the district executive committee or the area executive committee. If it is a constituency, then the constituency executive committee to organize the primaries. Now, if a candidate goes through the primaries, definitely he gets the signature of the Secretary General. That implies that he becomes our candidate. But that process will begin after the National Delegates Conference for identifying the candidates at lower positions.
Okay.
But by close of 30th, we shall have known who is going to carry our flag at the presidency.
Mr. Opio Lamano, let me put it like this. Isn't The Democratic Party conflicted at the top. You have a gentleman who has been eating at the table of the NRM. Come end of this year, he wants to actually take the entire table. For many years, he's been criticizing the NRM using all the disgusting language, and you know, he's a man with a gift of the gab. He has used all the manner of language to describe NRM as evil, but he has been dining with the devil. Is he not conflicted? And I'm not saying the devil as my word, because that has been the Honorable Norbert Mao's words. He at one point called the NRM the devil, that if you want to eat the devil, you make sure you have a long fork so that you can build its table. He's been up there dining with it.
Well,
and now he even wants to take the entire table.
Since you have used the analogy of a devil, I wish to bring to your attention that even God talks to the devil. In Job, God has had a conversation with Satan about Job's life. Now, if God can have a dialogue, a conversation with Satan about Job's life, who are we humans not to talk to ourselves? Now, the point is, in the Democratic Party, we believe, and strongly so, that dialogue is the way to go. Because we have only one country. Well, you may question the results of the dialogue, but the idea per se, it is a good idea. And I think we shouldn't just sweep it under the carpet. Now, to get to your point of carrying the table, of course, Honorable Norbert Mao, the President General of the Democratic Party, is in government on an arrangement that is not ordinary. He is the only minister in government with an agreement, and that agreement stipulates his roles and also why he is there. So, among the do's and the don'ts, we have, in the don'ts we have things like, you may say, if you're having an issue that government is championing and that issue is basically not in favor of the people, then the Honorable Norbert Mao can advise government. Now, it does not exclude his right to contest. The agreement or the cooperation does not exclude the right of Honorable Norbert Mao to contest, actually. It does not.
All right, all right.
He remains the President General of a political party that is actually bound by the rules and the provisions of the constitution of the party. Now, our party puts it clear that whoever that becomes President General automatically becomes the flag bearer. If he doesn't want to become the flag bearer, then definitely he wouldn't be vying for presidency.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Let me come to the Honorable Mr. Emmanuel Dombo. You know, I don't know how you're prepared for 2026 general election, because you're chairman and the president of the party, the president of the country as well. Assuming if he's going to run again, I think he will. He's on record having said he was cheated 1 million votes. That the opposition stole 1 million votes. Even though he had the powers to change the commission and put a better commission that is going to guard the votes, he didn't do that. Are you, all of you in NRM, really convinced that candidate Museveni's votes, 1 million, were stolen? And how are you going to guard against this?
When the president made that statement, he was no longer the candidate, but he is the president of Uganda, who is the biggest consumer of intelligence information. Because this information did not come from the Electoral Commission. This information came in through intelligence. And after he had used his intelligence, he summoned the Electoral Commission and he provided this information to them. He did also present it to the Central Executive Committee of the party that these are the loopholes And that's why he has been persistently recommending that we should use biometric technology in order to ensure that there is no repeated voting, that somebody will vote once, and that in case there was a dispute in court, there will be a digital trail which can be looked at on how people have voted, so that at the end of the day, the truth can...
If a chief executive of the country is on record saying he was cheated 1 million votes, and heads do not roll at the Electoral Commission, and the same commission is going to organize another election, really, well, are we going to get any credible election with that background? Or do you really, at the Central Executive Committee, believe that President Museveni, candidate then, was cheated 1 million votes?
What guarantees a free and fair elections? First and foremost are the processes that we go through. Secondly is the law, which our brothers make when they're in parliament, because that's the foundation. Thirdly is the technology and the other factors of the people who participate in the elections. Have you ever been in an election? Cheating an election, people cheat in many ways. People alter declaration forms, people connive with people to vote more than once at the polling station, people can count the votes differently if you don't have technology to help you. Some of the things will not manifest themselves at the time of voting and declaration of the results. Some of these may become subsequent, either through volunteering information, those who participated in the cheating, or auditing of the process, and then you find that perhaps you could have gotten more votes than what happened. So, because of the intelligence information which the president had, he made that revelation. I don't have the evidence myself, but the president brought that evidence and he showed us in the Central Executive Committee. But he also did address the nation and he mentioned this information. So to us, going forward, we are not auditing the previous elections because he's the president. He was declared the winner, even when he had been cheated. Now the issue is, what do we need to do as a country in order to prevent what happened last time from happening? Or what do we need to do in order to ensure that we have a free and fair elections going forward this time? That's the most important thing, which our friends in Parliament should ensure, that either they provide the resources to the Electoral Commission to ensure that they do a good job. Recently there were some members of the Electoral Commission who were sacked, the technical officers. The Secretary of the Commission is on interdiction. Very senior officers are on interdiction, purely either because of that and other subsequent issues which became available within the Commission, which the executive decided to use in order to do that. But for us, I believe as a party we are prepared on our part, because I don't talk for the Commission, even when I may talk about the work that they do may affect us. But for us as a party, we are spot on to ensure that at every step going forward, we are ahead of the Independent Electoral Commission so that we can conform to the deadlines.
Okay. Honorable Patrick Nsamba, my namesake Patrick, I don't know what you make of that assertion, and which has also been confirmed here. Of course, the president was on record that the opposition stole his 1 million votes. And by the way, you come from Kasanda. In this region, this is where the NUP got even more votes. So we are now even thinking what you could have gotten was not even real. What do you make of that?
You know,
you must be...
Patrick, the same assertion was made recently in Kawempe. And the NRM is in court claiming that they were cheated when they did all manner of of distortion of an election in broad daylight. When they brutalized the people, they deployed the army in an election where they are not supposed to be. Now they came up to claim, the same man came up and claimed that Nalukola stole the election in Kawempe. So I really don't want us to waste a lot of time on that, because as Ugandans would be demanding a free and fair election from the president of Uganda. Now he is the one who comes up to claim. The president of Uganda is empowered with all institutions to correct a mess. You cannot come up with an assertion that my votes were stolen and you arrest no one. When you're president of a country, you would have done it to correct and say, this mess, we know the culprits, A, B, C, D. He claims it is NUP that stole his votes. He would have arrested those NUP culprits to say that I'm the president, I have proof. But somebody who comes up and makes an assertion like that, he has a different intention and he has a different purpose. He just wants to communicate that, you know, you guys, everyone steals, everyone is part of the problem. So his intention is to close the mouth of Ugandans who are claiming the rigging of during elections.
Let me put it like this, and I want to be more direct, because we're talking about the road 2026. Just a few days back, you wanted to launch the protest vote, and police were deployed at the headquarters of NUP. You could not do that. The head of security for the principal or the party president was abducted and is incarcerated somewhere unknown. It appears, there's a saying that when the hunters start shooting without missing, the birds start flying without perching. How are you adapting to these situations as NUP?
Unfortunately, this is the same scenario I've been explaining. That whereas we have a political party that has stayed here or a regime that has been here for 40 years, they are not bent to provide to Ugandans a free and fair elections. Whereas they are moving across the country, claiming to be looking after PDM, they are mobilizing. They don't want any other political party to come up and mobilize. No other political party is allowed. They will be arresting either FDC, tomorrow they will be arresting NUP. Now these abductions, the arrests have continued since 2020. Remember, since November 2020, when they started abducting supporters of NUP, they have continued on this trail. They have done this. And whereas we talk about the Independent Electoral Commission, we know it is an electoral commission that is powerless. The law gives them the power to organize a free and fair election, but the regime grabs that power, deploys the army, which is not provided for, deploys RDCs, deploys all manner of security agencies to manage the election instead of the Electoral Commission managing the election. Now, that is the kind of election that we are headed to. But as Ugandans, you're asking me, how much are we prepared for that? And how are we going to deal with that? As Ugandans, as NUP, we think our mobilization strategy will continue to mobilize Ugandans, not to give up. Because these are vices, these are behaviors. This is not how a country, our country Uganda, deserve to be managed. We deserve a free and fair election. We deserve an election where the army plays no support to the ruling regime, We desire an election where people are free to participate. But today you are arresting this one, tomorrow you are arresting the other one, tomorrow you are arresting the other, and you're declaring dates and deadlines for elections. It does not add up. So in National Unity Platform, we are telling Ugandans, this country has gone to the dogs. Come up and protest these behaviors of the regime that is in here. And I want to mobilize even these people who are in the NRM. They are also not managing. They are like us.
They are also captured.
They are also captured. Because Dombo, you see Dombo here, cannot, his political party, as even the Secretary General of NRM, cannot run an activity when these regime boys are not aware. They can't. So it tells you that all our political efforts, especially political parties, is curtailed. What is going to happen in 2021, in 2026, is what we witnessed last elections, right, where people are murdered, where people are abducted.
A quick response to that before you come to Honorable Bualu. Yes.
I just wanted Honorable Samba is in a very privileged position because he has contested as NRM and he was declared the winner by the same Electoral Commission, and he has contested as opposition and declared the winner by the same opposition. I don't know when he first contested as NRM and was declared, he will tell us whether the Electoral Commission was being unfair and was cheating, and the same commission has declared him in the opposition. I just want to find out, how do you find a commission having experience both
clearly on
the government side?
When you see somebody is running from the yellow bus into the red bus, there's something is running out.
Patrick, let me respond to that quickly. Dombo, I feel that's a joke and a big one. And not expected.
Is it a fact, first of all?
Not expected from a man of your caliber. We are talking abductions. Are abductions going on? The answer is yes.
Yeah,
not Edimutu alone. So many NUP young people are being abducted day in, day out. Are RDCs managing elections? Yes, I witnessed with my eyes, Patrick, in Kawempe, when an RDC is chasing Dr. Simba, who is...
That response for now will work. Let me come to
now, the way... Yes. No, let me complete with that. In Kawempe, we've been here seeing members in polling stations. And I want him to respond to that instead of going for small things like you won here, you won here. Do you know how I win?
That's the question. Do you know how he wins?
Yes, do you know how I win?
Do you know how he wins?
Do you know the fire I got?
That's a good
even winning as NRM.
One at a time.
Even winning as NRM is not easy.
Gentlemen.
Because of the bad way elections are managed.
Ceasefire,
It answers the question. You know how he wins.
Jonathan Ebualu, you, with all respect, your party has been in tatters. I don't know which FDC to talk about. I know you're organizing, but there's FDC Katonga, though now it has changed to something else, and FDC Najena Nkumbi. And so when it comes to organizing yourselves, before you even compete for power against the others, your house is not in order.
First of all, I want to say and confirm here that as the FDC, we are going to participate in the 2026 election. Number one. Number two, we have rolled out our program. We are going to have our National Delegates Conference on the 31st of July 2025. A number of people have picked forms. We announced people to express interest right from the LC1 up to the presidential level. And I want to say here that yesterday, 4 people picked nomination forms for presidential flag bearer. the Honorable Nandala Mafabi, my brother Umar, my brother Malenga, and Masiko. So the process goes until tomorrow. Today was a public holiday. Process goes until tomorrow. So nominations will be on the 6th and then and 7th of May 2025. We had turbulence, I want to agree, at that time, but we have overcome that. We have overcome that as the FDC, the party president is the Honorable Patrick Muriato Boy. The Secretary General, who was the seal of the party, is the Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi. I wouldn't want to go into that turmoil, that status. We have overcome it. We had internal contradictions, and I wouldn't want to go into that discussion. We have moved on. We have been quiet for some time. We were laying down the infrastructure all over the country, and now we are ready to go on. But let me come to this. Even with all these situations that we are in, the NRM of Emmanuel Dombo is very lucky. Political parties, I would not even say NRM is a political party. NRM is a state. You find the RDCs as structures of NRM. Yeah. You find the military, they are structures of NRM. Yes. You find the DSOs, they are structures of NRM. The police, they are structures of NRM. That is the kind of organization that we are competing with. UNUP, they don't have any military, no police, no what. FDC, the same thing to DP. So that is the situation that we are in. I want to take you back to what happened in 2016, and it is still fresh in our minds. A number of supporters of the National Unity Platform were shot dead here on the streets of Kampala. Some were taken to jail. Up to now, they have never been tried. They're in prison. They are rotting in prison because of their political beliefs. A number of FDC supporters, some of whom have never been accounted for up to now, they're in prison because of their political beliefs. I want to say here, my senior brother, the Honorable Dr. Chiza Besigye, is rotting in prison because of his political belief. So that is the situation that we are in. We are competing with I would say, with a regime, with a state, with a military regime. NRM is not a political party because it is using the structures of government. That is where we have a problem. So we go into this election knowing that whether you want it or not, the Electoral Commission will declare General Museveni, whether you want it or not. But we go into this election to mobilize our people, to communicate to our people that enough is enough. After 40 years of NRM, we still go to Mulago Hospital, we don't have drugs. After 40 years of NRM, we still have broken roads. There are districts you cannot cross from one district to the other after 40 years of the NRM. After 40 years of NRM, they are still rigging elections.
But I want you to shed a light in the political parties themselves. Your own party, you know, from within, before Dr. Besigye went away, he accused the Secretary General and the President of the party for having eaten NRM money. Your own party, people like Beatrice Anwar are now serving the NRM. When you look in UPC, Betty Among and others are serving in NRM. When you look in DP, Norbert Mao and others are serving in NRM. So if your political leaders are not grounded, don't have that political ideology and grounded in it, and they can move everywhere, why don't you talk about the weaknesses within yourselves?
No, first of all, with political parties, I cannot tie the Honorable Matthias, the Honorable Samba here. I can't tie his legs in NUP. You cannot tie my legs to remain when I've chosen to go away. Political parties, you join, and when the time has come, you can leave. And like I said, I wouldn't want to discuss what has happened in the past, who has come in, who has left. We are talking about the situation that we are confronted with. Let me tell you, my brother Kamara, even these confusions that are happening within our political parties are purely caused by the NRM. NRM is fishing, they are buying people, they're doing whatever
because
they want.
Because you are fishable.
They are buying people.
Why have you put a price on yourself?
Not at all, not necessarily putting a price. Those who are willing to go because of money, let them go. For us, we are going to continue pushing. You know, this man is now old. At 80 years plus, he's now old. We need to prepare.
What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, I'm telling you, we have to prepare. We have to prepare. The man is now old. And Jerome Museveni now is not going to deliver anything new again to this country, apart from only using, to entrench the military, the police, and the state machinery to sustain his stay in power. But there is nothing new that is going to deliver. Let me tell you something, that this government, we saw what happened in 2016 elections. The Honorable Amama Mbabazi went to court. Court made a number of recommendations that the Attorney General should bring to Parliament. He has never brought to Parliament, not even one. One, the use of money during the elections. Number two, the role of the military in the elections. And many others. That has never come to Parliament.
Okay.
Now,
so, I mean, we have Mr. Lamono here. He could respond to that, because really, when he joined, when Norbert Mao joined, at least we expected some reforms as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, but things have remained the way they are. What has been his impact? After all, he talked big getting into it.
Well, I said earlier that the idea of cooperating is a good one, per se. Now, whether the parties have performed their obligations on their parts is another question to discuss. I do not have the audacity to speak for the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, because this information he has been saying to the public, and I know the reforms are underway, and when such a time comes, he will definitely announce them. But one thing I know is that in Uganda currently, I think the situation does not support thriving of political parties. To be honest, even internally within ourselves as political parties, if we try to examine how we do business internally, that one actually reflects that the fact that we are operating in an environment that does not support thriving of political parties. And in this one, I think it is rooted in individuals, because these political parties are formed by individuals. Now, if we as individuals have got a bad culture or a bad attitude, definitely these attitudes and bad cultures will manifest in how we run business. Now, I am not blaming any political party, because after all, there is no political party that is operating perfectly right now. So it is a blame that goes to all of us, because it is us humans that get into these political parties. It is us humans that when we get into positions in political parties, if for instance we are tasked to organize elections, it is us who caused the rigging. It is us who caused the injustice. It is us. So it is about us as individuals, but also the government that is responsible for creating an amiable atmosphere under which these political parties are to operate. I think they have not done much.
Okay. Honorable Emmanuel Dombo, I want to echo the words of Honorable Patrick Nsamba. If National Unity Platform and other parties cannot really be able to mobilize, they cannot even assemble, they cannot even just go to their headquarters and launch what they call their protest vote. And all we saw was deployment of heavy security on their headquarters. And the next day, Madam Namialo was doing her thing and nobody is stopping her. I mean, is that the kind of democracy we're going to build?
Patrick, I don't know whether the deployment was done from Plot 10, Chadondo, or from wherever it was done. I am here because I speak for the party. And
are you aware that NUP has been stopped to just mobilize her supporters in a time like this that is meant for election? Are you aware that every time they go, they are stopped by the police?
I'm very aware.
Does that concern you?
I'm very aware.
I'm asking you for that spirit.
And I was going to respond to it. I knew why you were asking, but I wanted first of all clarify that I'm here to speak for NRM, irrespective of what is happening elsewhere, because I conform with the law. Because as political organizations, there are standards within the law that we must comply with. You have seen, whenever we have had by-elections in Uganda, when we had by-elections in Omoro, National Interplatform lost 5 people who were driving from Iganga going to Omoro for elections in a convoy. People died. When National Interplatform had activities in Masaka, you had people who died in Abingo. When we had a by-election in Hoima, people died in the convoy of National Interplatform. And the police came up to ask them that why would you do this to break the law and to create people to die? And some of these were national leaders, they were district councillors, who were killed because of people violating the public order that should have happened. Now, because of that, therefore, for us as NRM, whenever police puts guidelines, we comply with it, we follow the law, and we try as much as possible. Where they do excesses, like when the police comes and clobbers journalists, we have inquired, we have said why. Why, like in the Kawempe elections, it affected the performance of our candidate. Because police conducted themselves in a way which did affect and judge people, which affected our candidate. And it's something that the president has launched an investigation so that we get the correct thing. Who ordered that operation and why did it happen at a time when we should have one Kawempe, and they created a scenario that favored the opposition? It is something that we're asking. But first of all,
who's the commander-in-chief?
I wanted to clarify on one thing which my brothers here may not be familiar with. Winning an election has consequences. And the first consequence of winning an election is that the winning party will have its manifesto funded by public resources. So this one will complain about RDCs being deployed, but even the programs that NRM planned, they are being funded by government resources because that is what we promised. That's a consequence of an election.
Deployed to manage elections? Deployed to campaign?
No, you deploy to...
They were saying that in respect to campaigns, sir.
You know, when you're a member of the RDCs, whereas they are public officers, they belong to the NRM. Absolutely, yes. Okay. You may not know, but that's a fact. And this happens in all governments, whether in the US, whether it is here, there are public officers that are political, and they are politically appointed. That's why when you appoint RDCs, you don't send them for vetting in parliament. They are posted as is, appointed by the president. But the other public servants who are appointed by the president and the parliament must vet. There is a very big difference between those. And that separation.
So these are party functionaries, they are not public servants?
No, they are public servants who are party functionaries. That's the difference. That's why they are not taken to parliament
that's not
for
true.
vetting. If you didn't know it, and it happens in every government. That's why when there was a change of government in the USA, for instance recently, there are offices that collapsed with the change of government, even when they had been public servants. But because the regime they were paying allegiance to had collapsed, they did collapse too. That is the offices of the RDCs, the offices of the DSOs, and the earlier people know this, the better. And that's why we asked them, previously, because they were ignorant themselves, they would come into by-elections and they would try to conceal their number plates. And we ask them why. We were there as a deployment. You have been sent to that area as a deployment, a sub-county, to ensure there is security so that people can go and vote. If you have been deployed there by the president and head of security, who is the national chairman of NRM, what's wrong with it?
That arrogance will stop.
So now, Honorable Samba, now you as settled. When you meet the RDCs in the field, you know you have met campaign agents of the NRM,
now,
according to director communication.
Now, this Dombo is like he's president.
Just before, very quickly before.
Yeah, I think this is very important. I think Honorable Dombo has to tell us that what is the role of these RDCs, 1. 2, are these, does the role of RDCs only cater for the NRM members, or it extends to even other party members? Now, if it does extend to even other party members, it is really and utterly unfair to consider them to be only employees of government and to champion only the NRM agenda. I think it's unfair, because you will be making them to impose. In fact, if they are supervising government programs like PDM, do you know what's going to happen? They are going to isolate these other ones that do not belong to the NRM, and that will be utterly unfair. So you have to come clear. You have to come clear.
I can't respond. You know, just this evening, I had a member of the National Unity Platform complaining about the RDs of Masaka, who was explaining the role of government and the PDM. Exactly what he's saying. The RDCs are supposed to ensure that there is successful implementation of the NRM manifesto.
That is not in doubt, because the NRM now is running the government.
Absolutely.
But to go and campaign for NRM candidate is not the role of an RDC.
If you explain, no, I just wanted Patrick. No, Patrick, before Samba comes in, when you go to explain the implementation of the NRM manifesto, is it a campaign or is it just an explanation? Because it is a manifesto for a party. And the RDC is supposed to supervise its implementation.
That is very different, because that is part of, checking government work. That is part of monitoring.
Yeah, but
but that's not campaign.
Because the manifesto belongs to...
That's a public...
Now that's where...
That is not partisan. Because PDM is also, whether you are DP or FDC, you're supposed to receive that money.
Absolutely.
But the issue here is them engaging in partisan politics. Is
the manifesto partisan? I just want to find out, is the manifesto partisan? Because PDM is a product of the NRM manifesto.
Patrick.
So when it is implemented and the RDC explains it, is he being partisan or not?
Nobody is faulting, nobody is having a problem with them monitoring government good programs, a government policy. The problem is when you go to Kawempe on government resources, you are paid by the government to campaign as an RDC official.
When he goes to Kawempe to explain the NRM manifesto to the voters of Kawempe, what does it become?
Patrick.
Yes, Honorable Sam.
You know, it's very difficult to speak for the NRM. That's why I'm trying to see my big brother.
You're sympathizing with him?
I'm sympathizing with him. Because a man who knows that elections are managed by a certain law cannot stand here and start saying that RDCs are okay to go and do what they do in the elections today. When it is not provided for in the law.
And do what? Because the RDC is going to explain the manifesto. Explaining a manifesto, is it a campaign?
They participate in ballot
stuffing. So good manners to listen.
Now that is illegal. That's what you get them ballot stuffing, they must be arrested.
So good manners to listen.
That is illegal.
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
It's good manners to listen. And I was still submitting. We wouldn't have, by the way, we wouldn't have any problem with the RDCs campaigning for the government. Me, personally, I have no problem, because these people are employed by this regime. Where we have a problem with them is to start using the security agencies they had to manipulate elections, to ballot stuff. The reason why they cover those number plates is not for good reason.
They no longer do that.
I thought you were going to listen. So they cover those number plates because they have intentions of ballot stuffing. Now, instead of working so hard to convince people about the programs the NRM has done, they focus on how they are going to grab an election. It is very, very unfortunate. They are not provided for in any of the laws we have. The army is not provided for in the laws we have on managing elections. So they grab the election process, they appear as if they are the alpha and the omega, they threaten our people, they go on doing all sorts of things, or manners of behavior that tells you that this is a captured state. And Dombo has no problem with that today because they are in power. But if you put Dombo somewhere and you asked him as a Ugandan, is this the best way we are supposed to be doing our elections? I'm sure he can have a different answer. He must not be happy about what goes on during our elections. I'm very sure, apart from being a spokesperson, he's a Ugandan. You're Ugandan.
Should I respond?
Yeah, I know the Dombo of Pafo. I know the Dombo of Pafo.
He's a Dombo. Now, Patrick, having talked about that, we desire to see a situation in this country where political parties are free. And by the way, the term is not even allowing is a wrong term. The political parties are supposed to be free. This regime that buys off and disorganizes political parties with money, that must be a treasonable case. Why would you use taxpayers' money to disorganize another political party? You're killing an institution of state, of the government of Uganda, because people of Uganda spend money on these political parties. And the reason why they spend money on these political parties to keep on running, because we want alternatives tomorrow or today. Now, when we have a regime, a president that uses resources to buy off Patrick, to buy off the other one, that must also be treasonable in this country, so that ends.
Just hold on. Sometimes, what do you mean to buy off? As if they are buying whatever. These are individuals who have a conscience. Ugandans who have decided to, you know, if they have put a price on themselves, you don't have to fault anyone.
It is not a price.
For example, there's a member of parliament, I think, Dr. Muzei Kabangu, who has joined the NRM. I'm forgetting, just the other day. He crossed from NUP to join the NRM.
Who is that?
A member of parliament. Kagabo.
Is that an old man?
Dr. Kagabo Muzei. Yes, he's left NUP and joining NRM.
But you know, Kagabo, the situation still was Museveni's money.
But you should know the kind of information he's leaving. But do you know what he's telling us?
It was still Museveni's money that is disorganized.
But this is a senior leader in NUP who is coming out with a lot of information that is so negative. He's running out of NUP, joining NRM. So are you going to fault NRM on that?
Patrick, I am not faulting NRM at all. I'm faulting the buyer of politicians. I'm going to use a simple example with these our friends of the corporation, who went into the corporation probably with good intentions, thinking that let us try the strategy of engaging this gentleman. Now, if DP cannot mobilize with a clear agreement and engagement to say let's work together, cannot be allowed to mobilize, then who is going to mobilize in this country?
Let me hold on. Let me bring it. Mr. Honorable Boalo here. Honorable Boalo, gentlemen,
they are not happy
one at a time.
With the corporation. None of the corporation.
Honorable Samba, one at a time. Honorable Boalo, in your earlier submission, you have actually given up and surrendered. Because you said President Yoweri Museveni is actually going to carry the day, come rain or shine, he's going to win. And I'm wondering, when Honorable Nandala Mafabi picks nomination forms to go and run for the presidency, and yet you senior members of FDC know it is finished, why are you into this now?
We are going to mobilize our people. We are
but you have surrendered tonight. You have surrendered tonight.
No,
election
presents us with an opportunity to go and mobilize our people. You saw what happened in Kawempe. Electoral Commission completely had no power. The state overran the elections in Kawempe. You saw what happened?
Have you just forgotten a few minutes ago you said the president will win no matter what?
I am telling you. I am telling you.
That's what you said.
I am telling you even.
And you're a senior member.
No, I am telling you even.
What kind of morale boosting is this?
I am telling you even if he loses the election, it will be declared. I am telling you the kind of electoral commission we are dealing with. That's what I'm talking about.
I think it's the same commission which declared him.
No.
I really want to say.
Okay,
Did you win?
Listen.
So what is the strategy to do otherwise?
We are going to mobilize our people. We need, like FDC, I'm happy now Noop has come with a protest vote. For us as the FDC, we have been talking about defiance for a very long time. Defiance far as 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, 2021. We have been talking about defiance. Now Noop has used a similar word to say protest. I can tell you that without reforms, if we are going for election in its current form, as long as Museveni is a candidate in this election, I am not, discouraging our people from participating in election. This election is going to present us with an opportunity to go and mobilize our people. We are not going to give up.
Gentlemen, hold on to your points because you're going to take a break on the spot. We'll be right back.
That's going to be perfect.
My name is Patrick Amara, and my guests this evening are Honorable Patrick Nsamba, Member of Parliament, Kasanda County North, from the National Unity Platform, the Honorable Jonathan Egwalu, Member of Parliament, Soroti City West, from the Forum for Democratic Change, Mr. Emmanuel Dombo, Communications Director at NRM, and Mr. Okolel Opio Lo Amanu, spokesperson of the Democratic Party. And we're discussing how political parties are organizing for elections 2026. Opio, yours has been even more problematic because it looks like every big fish in DP is always looking for how to exit. I can give you so many names that have exited. In fact, the other day there was a rumor that even you're contemplating to move.
To where?
Did you this principle?
Well, first of all, in Democratic Party, we have free entry, free exit. And I think that should be the spirit in all political parties. In the DP, we have freedom of speech, and that is protected, by the way, in the Democratic Party. That's why, in most cases, we have disagreements, and disagreements as members are open to the public. So the public sometimes interprets these disagreements as being a disintegration. No. Now, if a member disagrees, it depends on the kind of disagreement that we have. There are disagreements that we call irreconcilable disagreements. Like, we cannot reconcile. Members are free to leave. We don't tie ourselves on members. We don't tie them on ropes and say, please guys, keep around. So members are free to leave. However, I want the country to, the general public to really put a scrutiny on the leaders that we do vote into positions. Because in most cases, I think we have more of opportunists as opposed to true leaders in our time. You were asking about, Honorable Patrick was talking about the buyer. What about the boat? because somebody has a conscience, and that goes to the people. We should examine the kind of leaders that we vote. Because if somebody can present himself at the table to be bought, and you only blame the buyer, what about the boat?
Is it you really saying this? Because
I am saying this.
Because people have been bought at the highest level of your party.
No. Look.
Allegations that people have been bought at the highest level.
No, look here. What I'm saying is that when you present yourself to be bought, you should be blamed. Now, for the allegation that our people have been bought, of course, these are humans, but then, what do you mean by being bought? If you're talking about the cooperation agreement that we have in reference to being bought, then I think you're missing a point. You're missing a point. Now, by and large, it goes back to what I said, that as individuals, we should work on ourselves. And then the people down there should actually know that it is not the political parties that do serve. Because after all, in Uganda here, the political parties are not allowed to mobilize. They are not allowed to thrive. Now, I would actually interest the general public not to focus on political parties, but rather focus on individuals. Because if you have an individual, this is my opinion, even if we have political parties right now, these political parties are merely political parties by name. But they are not allowed. The situation does not allow us to mobilize.
Okay, how do you mobilize? I'm also going to ask each one of these. How do you mobilize now to effectively take on the NRM juggernaut and be able to win? They have a yellow book that in numerical strength is probably even bigger than the register of the National Electoral Commission.
Absolutely, yes.
And so these are the members. So like the entire voting bloc of Ugandans are members of the NRM, according to your book. Where do you begin as DP?
That's how they lied to their candidate.
This is what I'm saying.
How do you go about this?
Literally, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this situation. You are having the RDC who has got the infrastructure of government, and he has disclosed what they tell the RDCs in Chankwanzi, that you are members of the party NRM and you're supposed to serve the party. Now, what these RDCs are doing...
Some RDCs are former flag bearers in NRM, so being members of the party is not debatable.
That should not be the issue. The issue is when you are using public resources.
Yes, when you're using public resources
to do partisan work.
To do partisan work, and yet you are not allowing other political parties to mobilize. That's one. Two, I brought the issue of the RDC and PDM. You're definitely going to be partisan. And what the NRM does, it is actually telling our people down there that if you are not in the yellow book, you will not benefit from the PDM. I have evidence to this.
That is not true.
No, I have evidence to this. In Paris, I have evidence to this.
You better raise a
okay, let's move on, because we also want to see how this electoral terrain is going to be like, to avoid malpractice, to avoid violence, to be fair and free. You stand now with almost the voter strength of your register is as big as the National Electoral Commission. I mean, some people are asking, are you even not embarrassed?
So it's actually bigger. It's actually bigger than the Electoral Commission.
Those are the figures.
One at a time.
Patrick, let me tell you this and to our listeners. We are going to have our elections, the structure elections, on the 6th next week. Right now, I've just been to the party headquarters who have been loading registers, those ones with those membership. These registers are going to every village, over the 72,000 villages in Uganda. On the 6th of this month, there is going to be a baraza in all 72 villages, southern villages in Uganda, the Baraza is going to do this. The first thing, to get the register of every village in public and do a census. Who is this? Who is this? Whoever may have been registered in the register and is not a member of NRM is going to be cancelled there and then. Whoever has perhaps defected to another party like him, he was a member of NRM. If by any reason that he's still on our shelf, he's going to be cancelled on that day. So whoever disputes our figures, should come to every village, and that one is going to be finished on that day. When that register comes back, this is the preparation. When that register comes back now, it will be digitized the final time in the preparation for the primary elections. Because candidates had the interests in the preparation of the register, there are possibilities that some influential candidates or ministers or members of parliament or chairpersons LC5, they could have interfered with the process of registration, and they could have registered people who are either not from those villages or people who are younger other than what is prescribed within the constitution of NRM. So whoever disputes anything about our registers, they are going to be made public. If you have a problem in your village, go to your village. The register has been loaded on the vehicle tonight and is coming to your respective villages. And we're going to have elections.
Honorable Samba, how do you counter that? You have a party in power that has a voters register that is as big as the national voters register. They have nothing left for you.
When they came to the Kawempe by-election, I saw their candidates saying we have 200,000 registered voters.
Yeah, using that big book you're talking about, and everyone laughed. I've ever seen the numbers in that book, whereas we have 136,000 registered voters in the national voters register and the Electoral Commission numbers. NRM has 145.
What do you mean? 145 what?
Whereas the entire district of Kasanda, where I come from,
you're talking about Kasanda. Okay.
I'm talking about Kasanda,
okay,
has 136,000. Their NRM register has 145.
It's possible.
They're phantom voters.
So,
I can demonstrate here if you want on how that can be.
I really want to, if I was competing under NRM,
which he has never done before,
I would not have used those registers. Never. Because they mean nothing. And they will not use them. Dombo used them, I don't know for what purpose, I don't know for what publicity, but they mean nothing. For us who live with the people, we know very well that the NRM is the most unpopular political party today, as we speak. Most unpopular. You can talk about other political parties, but you cannot convince Ugandans that NRM means anything. I want to give hope to my brother Bwaru that in Kawempe, they deployed all sorts of, I think that was the first time Ugandans saw JAT in an election. They deployed all manner of security agencies. They deployed the members, RDCs across the country were in Kawempe, but we overran them. It is very, very possible for Ugandans to pick up and say it is possible to defeat this regime. And we must go in this electioneering, having that at the back of our mind. Yes, they have the army. Yes, they are abducting us. Yes, they are killing us. Yes, they are arresting us. But if you put all the prisons in the country and they say you're putting many people, they will get filled up. if the entire country...
Many have said that the NRM is at its weakest point, but even you in the opposition have failed to provide that one person with the charisma, character, and integrity, and high name recognition, a person who can infuse some kind of dynamism into the Ugandan public to be able to change this.
Now, if Ugandans are waiting for that character, then probably they are, I don't know what they are looking for. We've had Dr. Chiza Besigye here. He was a charismatic leader. Now we have His Excellency Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu. He's a charismatic leader. And he has mobilized all Ugandans from the beginning to the top. Now, what you're seeing, the derailing, the arresting people, the arresting of his people closer to him, those are efforts of the regime to weaken him. But otherwise, we are not deficient of a leader to take us to win and have a peaceful transition. What we desire to have and what we're calling upon Ugandans to do, once we fail to embrace this, to have a concerted effort, then what is going to emerge is violence. And once violence emerges, it is not good for everyone in this country. We must use the opportunity of an election and continue denying, wherever you are, deny NRM a chance. Deny NRM a chance, deny NRM candidates a chance, deny everyone NRM a chance. Then we can work together as Ugandans to say this regime must go, let us trust somebody else, and it is very possible. And for me, that is the effort I want to call upon Ugandans to have. That is the hope I want Ugandans to have, that this is possible even under the behavior of this regime.
I've just been reading a tweet here. There has been a Twitter storm, by the way, that Eddie Mutwe is looking very smart these days. The boys have tuned him well. He salutes Muzee's picture every day before breakfast. Anyway, you'll be reading some of these things by yourselves. But so, how do we avoid to go into the pitfalls of...
No, you can't leave that statement just there.
You have a Twitter account?
I mean, assuming that is true.
Assuming it is true.
Assuming it is true.
This is attributed to the Chief of Defense Forces.
Exactly. Assuming it is true. Is that how NRM is mobilizing?
But this is not...
You are...
This is nothing to do with NRM.
You arrest people. You arrest people. Yes, because we've seen it, Sanya. Sanya, the other day, young man who was a key supporter of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi, was arrested and forced to plead guilty. Now, is that the new strategy NRM is using? They get people, arrest them, abduct them, and go force them to plead? Is that the kind of institution that we are building?
It looks like
after 40 years? Very amazing. It looks
like you have a broken system. How do we mend it? This is attributed to the Chief of Defense Forces. Okay. Sorry, I don't know whether it is him or not, but he...
So he's saying we arrested Eddie Mutwe, but today we've changed him. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he's on Twitter.
Hey.
You see, this level of persecution is what we must resist. This level of persecution. Let me remind you, Dr. Besigye, some time back, was arrested and charged with treason. That case was dismissed. Dr. Besigye was arrested and charged with rape. That case was dismissed. My brother, the Honorable Kyagulanyi, was arrested during the by-election in Arua. They went and planted guns in his room. He was charged. Later on, the case was dropped. Government lost interest in the case. Up to now, we ask you, Emmanuel Dombo, you, the NRMs, you said there were guns in Kyagulanyi's room. Where did the guns go?
Which NRM persons?
Persecution of people.
No.
This should stop.
No, we must protest this.
Because, no, you're not going to protest.
Patrick, Let us be decent.
When you're going to arrest
Patrick,
One at a time, gentlemen.
Patrick, I just wanted
Okay,
to...
Jonathan, let him respond.
Patrick, I wanted us to be decent.
where did the guns go?
I wanted us to be decent when we are debating. Because I don't speak for the army. I speak for the NRM.
And
The army has got a spokesperson. The police has got a spokesperson. You cannot put that question to me. Because you have courts of law, you're a member of parliament, you sit with the Minister of Defense in parliament, you do nothing, then you come and shout here on TV. Why don't you're a paid person?
Don't call
Because you sit in member of parliament, ask the minister, ask the people
You're
here.
speaking for this government.
You can even stop to give them money.
You're speaking for this
You can even stop as members of parliament. Why are you not using it? Why are you not using your position? They pay you salary for nothing.
For this
Would you-
government
okay.
that is abducting Uganda.
So, Honorable Dombo, would you also question the same army and police for having acted in the way they did as a Ugandan?
Patrick,
Do you find these things right?
I have repeatedly said here, the police clobbered in Honorable Nabida in it, Owino here. I raised the motion on the floor when I was a member of NRM.
So why you
There was a select committee put in parliament. So what are you not doing that in parliament?
We have
You get
now
paid, you get
is a
salary,
different one.
you do nothing, then you come here on TV to shout.
Then when you rose it
So
in
why don't you
what
go to
happened?
parliament? There was a select committee.
So what happened?
The people were called.
Did they stop clobbering Ugandan?
I don't know what is happening now.
Did they stop abducting?
So what are you doing now?
Did they
In
stop
20
abducting?
In
You are not doing the work.
Tell the
Okay,
regime
gentlemen.
to stop abducting Ugandans.
Gentlemen, it's
Instead of shouting
Honorable
here.
Boadu on stage.
In 2021, the flag bearer of the FDC, Patrick Amuriat, was arrested 21 times. He was never allowed to mobilize, to reach out to his people. My brother, the Honorable Chagulanyi, was arrested 29 times. He was never allowed to reach out to his people. As candidate of the NRM, Jerome Museveni is moving. We are not allowed to mobilize our people now that they are moving. He is moving, Jerome Museveni, candidate of NRM, spending over 2 billion shillings a day to go and, to open a restaurant, a PDM restaurant of 300,000 in Kabale and come back to Kampala. He is campaigning. We are not allowed to mobilize. The other day, together with my brother, the Honorable Patrick Amuriat Oboy, and my sister, the Honorable Joan Alobo, the woman MP of Soroti City, we called for a meeting at the Soroti Public Gardens. The RDC instructed the police. They came, arrested us brutally. We were locked in prison from the 7th. We were in prison. From the 7th up to 14th when we were released. Members of parliament. We were taken to prison, and let me tell you something.
And they charged you with what?
Now listen, they charged us with 1, illegal assembly. 2, that we beat up the policeman. We did not do anything. That we assaulted the policeman. And then 3, that we were carrying pangas. We did not have any pangas. When we went to court, let me tell you, the pain that went through. We were released on a cash bail of 32 million shillings.
Cash.
32 million shillings. As the NRM people are moving, we are not allowed to mobilize. The NRMs are moving, we are not allowed to mobilize. The RDC...
That's not true.
Now what are you talking about?
Let me give him an answer.
Which answer?
Let me give an answer.
Should I?
Let me tell you, tomorrow we are going to bury, I am going to attend that burial tomorrow. We are going to bury SCP Omala Samuel, a man that this NRM used to brutalize Dr. Besigye day in, day out. You people abandoned him.
He did his work.
He abandoned him. He had died a pauper in Mula Hospital because he didn't have drugs for cancer. But he was used by you, the NRM. He was used by this government. Tomorrow, we are going to bury him. And you're here celebrating.
Patrick.
Honorable Manuel Dombo, let me tell you, one day you'll replay this year. You're here today.
Patrick.
You're in NRM.
Patrick.
You're celebrating. You came, I saw you. You're being escorted by the police out there. Today, you are in charge government. You're brutalizing us.
Patrick, I've not brutalized anybody.
Wait and see what.
Patrick, let me give you information.
Okay.
I pray for life that we are around Emmanuel Dombo one day.
Let me give.
Let Honorable Emmanuel Dogo.
Patrick, let me tell my brother. The parliament he sits, I was there for 20 years. Let him prove that he was elected to do work for the people. I was in that parliament. We censured the ministers. We refused to give resources to government until certain things were explained. We moved the motions and invited ministers to answer. He's here shouting on TV.
Also, as a journalist, I see a different Honorable Dombo of PAFO is different from the...
No. Patrick, let me. Patrick, protect me and I answer.
Okay, Jonathan.
Patrick,
Jonathan, please.
protect me and I answer. Shouting will not prove anything here.
But I hear you shouting.
Shouting here will not prove anything because members of parliament, they have the locus, they are given the resources, the constitution gives them powers, which they must use in parliament. When I was a member of parliament, I used it. I didn't come here to lament.
No, you hear.
Because they have the power of the past as members of parliament.
You hear him speak.
As members of parliament, they can move a motion. They can even stall the government work until a minister comes to explain. These are the things members of parliament must do.
I had a general telling them
Instead
you cannot appear before them, you can even...
Instead of going there to share money, as members of parliament, they should do their work. They should not come here to threaten Dombo, because Dombo has come here and talked. I did my work when I was there. Now I'm not in parliament, I'm doing my work this side.
We're threatening you. I'm only telling you that we want to pray for life. The way you're talking today, one day, you'll return here a different person. Because you're in power today, you're talking like you have left your head in Butaleja.
That is threatening. Do your work as members of
This
parliament.
money here. Are you happy when Ugandans are being abducted?
Are you happy when they're being shot dead?
So what are you
happy?
So what are you doing?
Are you happy with what happened in Kawempe?
I'm asking you.
We are
what are you
here. We
doing?
came here to exchange ideas on how we can have a better election. That's what we came for.
Are you happy when you're not allowed to
You
mobilize?
here?
But Honorable Sambai, all these years that was your colleague until the other day.
No, but when you hear Dombo speak today, by the way, I used to admire this man. I used to admire him. I used to follow him. When I sit with him here, I shudder that even the issues, even the issues before us, he doesn't want to speak about them.
All right, let me go to Pio.
He doesn't want to speak about them.
So what do we do?
Right, so what are you doing in the parliament?
The issue here is the ground is not leveled.
Never.
The ground is not leveled, but you expect to join and maybe even win the presidency. What do you think we're going to? Can the people of Uganda do? How do we adapt to a ground that many here in the opposition think is not leveled at all?
Well, first of all, I have always advocated for unity. By the way, if you're observant, it is only this time around when the opposition is not mooting unity. I think maybe the time is not yet there, but in the previous elections, we've been trying. Say you try this, you try this, you try to unite. Because if we don't unite, the NRM, with its infrastructure on the ground, including the RDCs, the DSOs, the PISOs, the VISOs, and all of that, we can never counter that force if we don't unite on the opposition. There is a statement that Honorable Samba made here, and I think we have to be pragmatic. I come from Palisa. The truth of the matter is that in Palisa, NRM and President Museveni has got a genuine support. That is a fact.
I like
Now-
the way how this one has
Now-
surrendered. You cannot win, or even if you win, he will declare. For
Now-
you are saying he has
Now,
genuine support in
I
Palisa.
want us to be strategic. No, I want us to be pragmatic.
Until the other day,
I don't want
Samba
us-
was in NRM.
I don't want us to bask our heads in the sun like ostriches. As the opposition, we must be realistic. Because if we fail to be realistic, if we lie to ourselves, then that is very dangerous. This is the truth of the matter.
And understand you will be running for office in Palisa.
Yes, I am speaking.
But in an NRM stronghold.
I am speaking.
So
Of course, the people of Palisa have already decided.
that's why I said that you're contemplating to move. I knew what I was talking about.
No, the people of Palisa have decided that this time round, we are not voting a political party. We are voting an individual. And you know why? and you know why? No, Honorable Ebuaru, you see, I think we should have decorum on this show.
One at a time.
I think we should have decorum on this show.
On the floor, gentlemen.
The gentleman is attacking everybody. I think you should preside over him. What I'm saying.
Listen to yourself.
Yes, and I'm being clear.
You are a member and a spokesperson of DP, and then here you're saying that the people of Palisa should vote for an individual. So what are you doing in DP? Why don't you just cross to where the NRM or stand as independent?
Now,
If you don't trust your DP.
now, Honorable Ebuaru is in Parliament, not on FDC ticket. Am I right? You are independent, right? Are you independent or you are FDC?
Is FDC leaning?
Are you independent or you are
Is
FDC?
FDC leaning?
That's a question. Please answer.
I am FDC.
Are you under sponsorship of FDC in Parliament?
FDC.
Are you under? Okay. Honorable Ebuaru is a member of Parliament, but independent, not FDC.
Not NRM.
Now,
You.
there is a reason. You see, first listen. You first listen and swallow this bitter pill. The truth of the matter is you ran as independent, and yet there was a flag bearer. If you truly believe in the spirit of political parties, you would have stood down, but you elected to come as independent. Therefore,
And exonerated
when
himself
we
that
are
he was
speaking
right.
about the sense in political parties, please shut up. You do not qualify.
No more authority.
Now, my point is the people of Palisa County have decided that they are going to vote an individual. Why? Because they have been supporting a political party candidate and they seem not to be getting what they expected. And they have, and personally, I have no problem if they choose to do that.
Okay.
I am only reporting what they have decided.
In the interest of time, I'm going to again give you a few seconds for your concluding remark. I'll come to Nsamba, Honorable Nsamba and Honorable Boalu, so that I can conclude with the...
There is a critical issue
Of
unity.
Yes, yeah, he can speak about that
He
in
tried
concluding
to-
remarks, and all of you can talk about the
tried
unity
to
part
raise.
as we conclude. I want to conclude with the Dombo because all of you are opposition. So let him have the last
Sorry,
one. Yes.
the issue of unity that I'm talking about is actually manifesting in our conversation here. Honorable Ebuaru is calling me NRM. Now, that one utterly demonstrates his ignorance about the cooperation and the arrangement we are in. He could have chosen to get information from me than to name me NRM. I am not a member of NRM, and we are not members of NRM. We are cooperating with the NRM. That said, I think the strategy of one-to-one model that we had suggested as DP as we geared towards 2020 elections, 2021 elections was the best. Because you come to a district like Palisa, in Palisa County, if you do notice as opposition that Okoler Opio Loaman of DP is the strongest opposition candidate in Palisa. I'm just giving an example. There is absolutely no reason why, if we are in the interest of winning and winning that seat, there is absolutely no reason why you should put a candidate on that if you are NUP or if you are FDC.
Thank you.
If we go to Honorable Ebuaru's constituency and we say he's strong, we do the same thing.
All right. the issue of unity. Honorable Nsambo, you are concluding remark.
But you know, Opio brought a very important topic, but then he watered it down. We are here, he claims he's opposition, but he's also claiming to be working with NRM.
He actually said...
That is possible. No, that is possible.
Now,
that is possible.
He's the same person who wants us to...
NRM has a strong... Where he comes
now,
from.
he's the same person who wants us to leave positions for him, yet is in cooperation with NRM. Now, that arrangement, you can only have it with the NRM. Where NRM has a candidate, UDP, you're not supposed to put a candidate. Now, you leave us who are in opposition because you chose who to cooperate with.
Just small on that?
You know
why we are cooperating with NRM?
Opio, be honest to yourself, and people have been listening to you. You cannot have a demand for unity with the opposition at the same time have demand unity at the same time with the NRM. You can't.
Okay.
You can't be double-faced.
You're cutting short.
We have problems in the opposition. I'll give an example. Dr. Kano Kizabesige is in prison today. He is supposed to be on the street. He's supposed to be outside mobilizing. He's in prison. We have so many of our people in prison. We can't be having unity with the likes of UOPO who are enjoying the protection of the state. We may be look for people with similar problems. Now, my parting shots are simple. To tell Ugandans, the choice is ours. When we choose to keep fearing this monster called the NRM regime, not, by the way, the NRM political party, but the NRM regime, and I'm choosing my words correctly. If the choice is we work together to defeat this regime, or else our country will go to the dogs forever. And we must, as Ugandans, do whatever is possible to ignore, to forget whoever is still supporting the NRM. We are calling upon you that join the rest of Ugandans, join other forces in Uganda, those that are working to end this regime, we end the regime.
Thank you.
Otherwise, if we continue like this, we are going to continue having the bad politics, we are going to continue having the poor service delivery, we are going to continue having a poor run country.
Honorable Boalu, you're parting short.
Indeed, coming together is correct. Unity is strength. That's why you see we will continue holding the hand of NOP and say, let us work together. And the other opposition members who wish well, who wish the country well. But honestly, where you are going to go and join General Museveni's cabinet, you are taking decisions together with Museveni. Where they agree on how to brutalize us, you're part of it. You're part of it. Where they tell you that now the reforms must be taken to parliament, you're part of it in cabinet. You don't, because you don't have any power. Because we have the ministers who don't have power. Mao cannot bring anything to parliament when Museveni has not said yes. He can't. We are blaming Mao over nothing. Therefore, to me, we shall cooperate with those who are willing to cooperate, because there are people who are in the NRM who want change. There are very many. They are silent. They can't speak, but they want change. But to my brother, Opio, you see, you are either DP or NRM. You can't be both. Now, you are a spokesperson of DP, but you're saying your people in Palace have accepted that they are going to give an independent. Honestly, that's where there's a bit of, that's where there's, okay, that an individual, that vote for a person, that's where there's a bit of a problem. You are a very nice man, very intelligent man, but get out, stand on DP, come what may. You lose honorably.
All right. The three of you gentlemen, your words are done.
What you can do
yes.
is what he's saying.
that you can only go and negotiate with the NRM. That let me win Palisa as DP, but we are together with you.
All right, gentlemen, it's now the parting shot from Honorable Emmanuel Dombo.
I want to thank my colleagues here and to request that we find time so that I can take them through the do's and don'ts when you're a member of parliament, so that they can meaningfully use their time to do. I would have loved to ask Honorable.
Take them for tutorials, eh?
I would have loved to ask Honorable Samba, when people were signing, those who received the money from parliament, did he sign with you? I just wanted to find out. Because people go to parliament and agree to share money together with NRM. And then they come to parliament here on TV, they begin saying totally different things altogether. They should stop that pretense.
You're agreeing to share money? Which money are you sharing?
That would be another topic.
Where are you getting it from?
That would be another
because
topic.
You have revealed something very
Yes, that's a topic for another day.
They have agreed to share with you which money for which vote.
This is something, because
I don't have a list
that when people agree to share.
That sign.
He doesn't have the list, but I would have loved to.
Now I would have cross-checked, because I think he's asking. But you would have asked him whether he signed.
Okay, gentlemen.
No, it is you who had the list.
All right.
So if we do that, then we shall be responsible members of parliament who are talking, walking the talk what we say. Because if we don't do that, and we come here to either threaten, insult, or attack colleagues, just because you are in a debate, it's not healthy and it's not helpful.
But
thank you very much. Honorable Emmanuel Dombo, I want to thank you. Honorable Patrick Nsamba, I want to thank you. Honorable Jonathan Hebalo, I want to thank you. And Mr. Okoler Opio Lo Amanu, I want to thank you, gentlemen. And I know we have a good country and we are good people. Sometimes you can see colleagues here, the emotions are high. But let me tell you, these guys are never enemies. In the corridors here, they are shaking, they are talking. Sometimes they even talk business. Please do not fight so hard, even injure yourself or even die. Yet these guys can even wine and dine together. Keep it civil. Do what is responsible. Do not engage yourself in something that is illegal, because we have other things to do. There's more than politics in life. Good night and God bless Uganda.
It's not easy to die